Back to the ground with the only free MMA channel that fucking matters, full-time MMA. And reports are coming out claiming Nate Diaz will be walking out with Floyd Mayweather to the ring against Conor McGregor. And this is actually good for the MMA world. You know why? Because the Floyd Mayweather fight is easily Conor McGregor's biggest fight of his life. As far as the biggest payday, the most attention, the most entertainment he's going to bring to a lot of people. I'm not talking about the fight specifically, I'm talking about the event. This is huge for Conor McGregor. This Conor McGregor fight has gotten more attention than any previous Conor McGregor fight in his life. So this will be the biggest fight of Conor McGregor's life. And so, for Nate Diaz to be attached to Conor McGregor's opponent, that's huge for Nate Diaz's chance of rematching Conor McGregor for the 155-pound title. Nate Diaz has been in race season ever since his last Conor McGregor fight. He's not going to fight any other lightweights until Conor McGregor comes back to the UFC, and he has that opportunity. Nate Diaz is making some people call it the smart move, some people call it the pussy move, it doesn't matter. He's making the move to wait on Conor McGregor to come back to MMA before he comes back to MMA. And that's, I mean, honestly, it is smart. It's smart. That's what it is. Because think about Holly Holm. The UFC told her, your best bet is to wait until Ronda Rousey comes back to MMA and get that $1 million payday. What did Holly Holm do? She went and she took a fight against Miesha Tate, lost that fight. She went and took a fight against Valentina Shevchenko, lost that fight. Went and took a fight against Jermaine Durandamy, lost that fight. So, she lost her $1 million opportunity at fighting Ronda Rousey again. If Nate Diaz came out and fought 3 lightweights, 3 top contender lightweights, and lost all 3 of those fights, his Conor McGregor payday would have been out the window as well. But no, Nate Diaz has been smart. Nate Diaz is a lot of fucking trolls in the comments like to make jokes about Nate Diaz being dumb, and no, that's not the fucking case, because if Nate Diaz was dumb, he would have already came out and fought Tony Ferguson or fought Kevin Lee or fought any of these contenders that have been calling out Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz would have fought them if he was dumb. But Nate Diaz isn't dumb, because he's been waiting on the Conor McGregor fight. And that's just my opinion. Some people say he's not waiting on Conor McGregor, he's just racing. Okay. Well, I'm not a fucking race fan, I'm an MMA fan. So according to me, Nate Diaz hasn't had an MMA fight since his last Conor McGregor fight, and he's in the running for the next Conor McGregor fight. So that's the fucking smart thing to do, and I'm on the fucking, and I understand that. So, the fact that Nate Diaz is walking out to the cage with Floyd Mayweather leads me to believe Conor McGregor's next MMA fight will be against Nate Diaz. Because not only do they have the first 2 fights, Nate Diaz won the first one, Conor McGregor won the second one, so the trilogy is already insane. But now Nate Diaz is Team Mayweather. Now Nate Diaz is Team Boxing. Now Nate Diaz is Team Floyd. So that adds even more to the promotion for Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. Compared to what? Compared to Tony Ferguson or Khabib, who haven't fought for 11 months waiting on each other to be healthy again to finally fight for the interim title to see who fights Conor McGregor. Now, it will be interesting if they schedule Tony Ferguson versus Khabib for an interim title, which by this point I hope they don't do, because I'd rather see Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz at this point, just for the fact that we would have to wait an entire year to see Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. They were already supposed to fight. Khabib Nurmagomedov ate some tiramisu, missed weight, the whole fight was canceled. Both of these fighters have not fought since then. They've been very inactive. The same as Nate Diaz. What's the difference? Nate Diaz has already fought Conor McGregor 2 times. Nate Diaz already has a history with Conor McGregor. Nate Diaz will be walking to the ring with Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Nate Diaz wins the vote. As of today, currently, the UFC doesn't have any plans, any events scheduled in Russia. All the way till December, the fights are booked. The events, the states, the cities, the countries. And we haven't got any news about UFC in Russia. And if we did, that would lead me to believe Conor McGregor's going to fight Khabib in Russia. But since we haven't, it's looking like it's going to be Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. And as a fight fan, you can be mad at that, because not only is it going to be at a different weight class, it's going to be for a fucking title. That's gonna be so big, man. I almost had a fucking fanboy moment and had an accident in my pants when I thought about Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor for the lightweight title. Woo! With that being said, I don't know what else to say, man. Fuck it. It is what it is. Let the haters know how excited you are about Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3 versus the lightweight title in the comments, or if you think it'll be a different fight that happens, because I'm voting Nate Diaz if he's actually walking out to the ring with Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. What's the difference between a pregnant woman and a light bulb? You can unscrew a light bulb.